Hello everyone, my name is Ramasamy Palaniappan. I have been into software field from last 15 years, of which 10 years I worked as a software test automation engineer. From last 5 years, I'm into RPA automation, where I worked in different RPA tools, started from UiPath, Blue Prism, and Automation Anywhere. I have good experience in all these three tools. So today in our session, we are going to discuss about what is RPA and why do we go for RPA, and who can learn this RPA course. And we know, like, the applications are developed using different technologies. So we are going to see what kind of applications we can automate using RPA tools, and then we are going to see how this robotic process automation work. And we are going to see a few examples of robotic process automation, and we are going to see benefits of RPA. Generally, what benefit we are going to get out of it, so that we are going for RPA. And we are going to see what are the list of tools available in the market, and which tool we can go for the automation. Let's get started. Okay, so we are going to see what is RPA. So RPA is basically, we call it as robotic process automation. It is basically a software-based robotics that emulates work that people do. It's important to clarify that it is not the same as physical, shiny metal robots. So the blue collar companies use physical robots to automate their everyday process. In white collar companies, we do robotic process automation for automating the business processes. So in white collar companies, it is not related to the physical robo, it is related to the software robo that we automate business process here. So RPA is a configurable tool that uses business rules and sequence of actions to automatically complete process in any number of different applications the same way a human would, with the help of people for exception management. This is the actual definition of RPA. So what is mean by configurable tool? So if we go for RPA, so that RPA tool should be having the capability of configuring the options, so that we need not to code, we need not to basically we need not to code. So whatever options we want to automate, just configure uh, and go for the process automation. And also the RPA is basically handles all the business rules. So if we take any business process, that particular business process may have so many business rules. So business rules in the sense we can use, like if conditions to make the decision, and if that particular uh, condition is true, do this kind of tasks. If it is false, do this kind of tasks. All that business rules we are going to implement in the RPA tools. And then any RPA software tool should be having the commands, basically the sequence of actions which will be used to build the automation process. So when we talk about the sequence of actions and commands and activities, all refer to the same terminology. It's basically the activities. So each and every RPA tool may have so many activities, inbuilt activities, so that uh, we can drag and drop to the uh, process area, and we can develop our business process. We can build our business process using those activities. And automatically, so once the development is completed, then we are going to publish that process, and we are going to run it automatically. So we are going to schedule it so that it will run automatically from the uh, control room, or we call it as a orchestrator. Uh, we can schedule it to run automatically. And this RPA tool can automate all latest applications. So the applications can be developed using different technologies like .NET, Java, and PHP, or any other web technologies the applications might have developed. Uh, so we are going to use RPA tool to automate those applications. So there is no restriction. Pretty much RPA tools covers all the technologies, applications that we can automate. And during the automation, during the execution of the bots, there may be exceptions occurring. So the RPA tool has the capability of managing these exceptions. So all that we are going to see in this application, in this course actually. So when we talk about RPA automation, what does it mean? What kind of process that we can automate? So that's what, like if you see in this picture, we basically receive emails from clients, and then what we can do with this RPA automation is we can read those emails, and we can download that attachments to our specific folder path, and we can keep it there, all the attachments. And then we can read, we can prepare the robo to read the data from those attachments. Those attachments can be a PDF document, or it can be Excel document. So from all that documents, we can read the data. So for that, we can develop the automation, whatever the bot we are developing, the automation process that we are developing, that will do all this job. And after reading those data from those attachments, it will do, the bot will process that data. So maybe it will extract the information, and it will parse the information for the required format, and then it will feed those data into other applications. Maybe we will be entering those data into the SAP application or any other CRM applications. All the bot does that. And then once our all the process is done, uh, then we will be I mean the bot will be validating those transactions. Once the validation is completed, then the bot will send the email notifications to the client saying this process has been validated, like that. So this is the overall process of RPA. So when we talk about RPA, we can do the automation for this kind of process. So it will interact with the different applications also. So your applications, you may feed data into one application. Those data after processing, it may appear in other applications. So those validations, if people does, they need to manually log into that application and they need to manually verify those transactions, whether it is flown to that application or not. But if we use RPA automation, the manually we need not to verify everything. So the bot we develop, that takes care of all these validation spot and sending email, all that. The bot takes care of it. So this is what we mainly go for, RPA automation, so that our regular work, we need people we need not to do that actually. And coming to configurable software, what does it mean, configurable software? Because we say RPA is the configurable software. Because why we say RPA is the configurable software means all the latest functionalities come with uh, comes with the software itself as the inbuilt functionality. So that means, suppose if you want to interact with the Excel application, and if you want to read the data, we need not to code. So just we need to download that Excel packages, and we need to configure the things. For example, if you want to open a workbook, then we need to use particular activity for that. If you want to read the range of data, we need to use particular activity for that. And if you want to extract the information from that particular data table and all, we can use particular activity for that. So the activities are inbuilt with the RPA tool, so that we need not to code. So that is able to configurable. So that's what this means. And then business roles. So business roles are there in every business process, right? So there may be a lot of conditions we need to check whether this condition is true, what to do, and this condition false means what to do. For the best example is in a stock inventory, while maintaining the stock in the manufacturing industry, if a particular stock going below the certain level, so we are going to order, we are going to request uh, we are going to request the raw materials to buy. So and so those kind of conditions we can easily automate using RPA tool. And another example is, if our bank balance in the bank, right, going below the certain amount, then we are going to raise the notification. The bank will raise the notification to us saying your balance is going below the minimum balance. Please credit the amount to your account, like that. So all these kinds of business rules, all that we can implement using RPA tools. And sequence of actions. So what does it mean by sequence of actions? So basically, if we want to build the automation process, we are going to use actions. So each and every actions, just we pull and we build our automation process. So the action can be like in business process. If we want to raise a sales invoice, if you want to process sales invoice, it may there are so many steps involved. So we need to have the purchase order reference, and we need to put the sales invoice date and the sales invoice number, and then what are the products we are going to dispatch to the customer. And the products can be multiple products in the same invoice. And we are going to calculate like how much quantity we are going to send in each product, and what is the amount of each quantity, and then we are going to calculate that amount, and we are going to calculate the total amount of the invoice, and from the total amount of the invoice we can calculate the sales tax. In India it is called GST, so maybe 18 percentage or whatever we can calculate, and then finally we can calculate the net invoice amount. So uh, like this, lot of steps involved in a business process. If we want to implement all these steps into our automation process, obviously we have to use the actions or commands or the activities. We just pull the drag and drop their required activities, and we build our automation process. This is what all about. It will happen sequentially. So this is what is all about sequence of actions. And we are saying using RPA, we can automate uh, process. So what kind of process can be automated? If we look into that, we can automate a simple process to complex process. Any kind of process we can automate using RPA tool, because RPA tool has that capability of interacting with various applications, and we can automate any complex process also. So when we say simple process, for example, creating and updating the reports may be the simple process, and managing the work absences and balancing erroneous invoices all can be a complex process, even though we can automate using RPA tool. The completion of tasks done independently. So the automatic means once our automation process is completed, we are going to publish that process into the orchestrator tool. We call it as, in case of UiPath, RPA automation tool, we have three kinds of components in UiPath. So basically, one is UiPath Studio, and another one is Orchestrator, and another one is UiPath Agent. All these three components work together to achieve the automation process. So once our automation process is developed, completed, and we are going to publish that process into the Orchestrator tool. From the Orchestrator tool, we can schedule it. We schedule the process to run at any particular time on any particular bots, or we call it as digital workforce, or we call it as VMs. So we can run that particular process in that particular robo, so that in that particular time automatically will start the run and will execute the process. So using RPA, what kind of applications that we are going to automate? As we discussed, we can automate the applications which have developed in different technologies. All that we can automate in using RPA tool. Here we talk about UiPath. So who can learn this course? Who will benefit of this course? So executives in any company, executives, operational leadership, delivery, information technology, information security, HR, risk office, all the people from all these fields, they can learn this course. Not only this is this list, pretty much from every field they can learn RPA tool, so that they can use that particular RPA tool, maybe UiPath, to automate their processes. So In HR, like we can automate employee onboarding process, because at the time of joining the employee to the company, they may need to do the lot of documentation work, where the HR department will verify the documents of the employees, and then they will feed those data into their systems. So all that uh, currently, like HR department may do it manually, but this kind of task we can target to automate easily using RPA tool UiPath. Like that, in information technology, in IT also, there are a lot of manual process involved. So though they have different softwares like ServiceNow and ticket tracing softwares, they may have different softwares, but uh, if they want to raise any tickets, if they want to process the tickets, all that they people, the service engineer need to log into that application manually, and they need to feed the data manually. So if we use RPA automation tool UiPath for that, we can easily automate that process, so that manually people need not to feed the data and need not to validate the transactions. So all that can be automated using UiPath tool. So like that, from different fields, the people can use UiPath for their automation process. As I said, we can automate desktop application, we can automate web application, we can automate GUI applications using UiPath. We can automate, like if we want to scrap the data from the screen or from the image or from any PNG file, all that can be done using UiPath. And then we can automate Citrix applications. So Citrix applications means the applications might have hosted in the Citrix server. If we want to automate those applications, we can do that in UiPath. And we can automate mainframe applications using UiPath. We can automate SAP applications using UiPath. In SAP also, the latest version HANA is there. We can automate SAP HANA migration also, and we can automate Excel operations. Excel automation we can do, and macro recorder we can do in UiPath. So pretty much all technologies, the applications developed in .NET, Java, all that can be automated using UiPath. So when we talk about RPA automation, how does this RPA automation work? We are going to see that. For example, logging into the application, logging into any application, connecting to system APIs, copy and paste data, move files and folders from one location to another location, extract and process structured data and semi-structured content from documents, PDFs, emails, and forms, read and write to database. So if we want to read data from database using select queries, all that can be done very quickly using UiPath. We can make a connection to that particular database, and we can use select queries to read the data. Also, if we want to write the data back to database, we can write the data also to the database very quickly using UiPath. So all inbuilt activities are available. We can use those activities and we can do this job. And open emails and attachments, as we discussed, we have email related activities that are inbuilt activities. We can we can use those activities. We can build our automation process to read open emails and download the attachments. scrap data from the web. Suppose if a particular web application has a huge amount of data in web table, we can quickly we can scrap all the data, and after scrapping all the data will be going into the data table, so that we can apply select query. We can filter the data whichever we want. All that options we can do in UiPath easily and very quickly, and make calculations. So if you want to perform any calculations on the data, we can do that. And again, move files and folders, it's same thing. If you want to move the files from one location to another location, all that we can automate. We have a concept called a directory class, so we can use that class, and we can move the files from one location to another location, or if you want to rename, delete, all that we can do easily and quickly using UiPath automation RPA tool. So few examples of process automation. So what kind of process examples is like, if you want to automate accounts payable automation, right, in any manufacturing company, whenever they purchase goods from the supplier, they have to make the payment to the suppliers. So those records, if you want to maintain, we can automate to maintain that payables. We can do the automation. And in insurance sector, the claims processing can be automated. If a person wants to claim the insurance amount, there are a process involved, claim process, that is called a claim process. So we can automate that process using UiPath. Likewise, healthcare payer automation we can do, contact center automation, finance and accounting automation, human resource automation. All these process we can do for all these business processes. We can easily do the uh, automation. We can easily automate using UiPath tool. And here comes the benefits of RPA. What are the ultimate benefits we are going to get by using this RPA automation? So the main benefit is like, industries use various software, like as we discussed earlier. Industries use various software like SAP, CRM, ServiceNow, etc. But people operates those software and feed data and validating transactions in another module or applications. Instead of people feeding data and validating transactions, we can automate these tasks and deploy the bots, so that the bots can do these tasks quickly, accurately, and repeatedly any number of times. So this is the main benefit of RPA. And large number of the process can easily have automated. As we discussed, we can automate any small process also, simple process also, and we can automate any complex process also using UiPath. So in UiPath, we basically have three kinds of main workflows. So we can use these workflows to automate any simple, medium, or complex process. Those are called like sequence, flowchart, and state machines, and global exception handler. So all these four kinds of using four kinds of workflows, these four kinds of workflows, we can automate any simple process and any complex process also. We can automate easily and quickly. And then costs are reduced significantly as the RPA takes care of repetitive tasks and saves precious time and resources. So because of the RPA takes care of this repetitive task, and because of that we can save the human resource, human beings' time. The people's time we can save lot by executing these bots 24/7. At any time we can execute, so that the people need not to do this manually, so that their precious time they can use it for um, any other value additions. They can use their time. And programming skills are not needed to configure a software robot. Thus, any non-technical staff can set up a bot or even record their steps to automate the process. As we discussed earlier, configurable tool. RPA is a configurable tool, so that we need not to remember any coding. We need not to have the coding skills, because it is configurable. So any non-technical staff also can develop the automation process, and they can build a bot, and they can publish the bot, and they can achieve their goals. Robotic process automation support and allows all regular compliance process with error-free auditing. So we can use this RPA automation for auditing purpose also. The robotic software can rapidly model and deploy the automation process. As we discussed, we can develop automation process very quickly, and we can deploy the bots into production. The defects are tracked for each test case, story, and sprint. So when we automate this process in agile environment, we will have uh, we'll be working on sprint wise. So if at all any defects is there in the automation process, that we will fix the defects in each sprint, and we will be uh, making the automation process at a runnable state at any time. Effective seamless build and release management. So as uh, we can set up seamless build and release management in RPA. Real-time visibility into bug defect discovery. So if you find any bug and defect, that is like it is visible. Like if you want to, if we go for debugging mode, and if we debug the process, we will be coming to know where exactly the defect or defects are present, so that we can fix the defect immediately. There is no human business, which means there is no need for time for the requirement of training. So we need not to we people need not to more people need not to involve in the automation process. So that is the main benefit. We are reducing the people intervention in the automation process. Software robots do not get tired. It increases, which helps to increase the scalability. So basically, the software robot, once the automation process done, once if we deploy the automation process, that is nothing but if we deploy the bots, that bot can run 24/7, so that we can increase the scalability. So there is no need of that people gets tired and all. So robots will not get tired. It can run at 24/7, and we can achieve our task completion. So when we talk about RPA tools, there are a lot of RPA tools in the market. Of those, the leading RPA tools are UiPath, Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere, OpenSpan, WorkFusion. So all these are the RPA automation tools we can use to our day-to-day business process development, of which UiPath is the number one RPA tool that each and every day it comes up with new technologies implemented in UiPath. And also it is very easy and effective to learn UiPath because it has like 450 plus activities it has, and we can use those activities for our automation process development. So uh, in forthcoming sessions, we are going to deep dive into UiPath, and we are going to learn from scratch to advanced level in UiPath. So that's all about today's session about RPA introduction and overview. So in forthcoming sessions, we are going to learn more about UiPath. Thank you all. Bye.